We are in business. Third time's the charm.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. one person is in the chat. That's Sean probably.
Yeah, give it a minute. All right, we are good now. We are in business. We have a chat.
Yes, third time's the charm.
Sorry for the hold up.
Apologies, everyone. It's
We blame Belgium.
we're on a hot tub in a foreign country, on my phone, with a burned hand, which is why one arm's out of the water holding a can, which isn't helping a whole lot. But
We have like ice cubes maybe.
do we have ice cubes?
No, we don't.
No.
You can hold a pizza box. Negative.
7 people.
Yeah,
Probably will
give it a
bump
minute.
up
There
to
we go.
18.
18. Hello, everyone. The wind has actually died down a little bit.
Yeah.
So hopefully we're screening it enough that the sound won't be bad.
Oh man, this hot tub is really warm.
Can you understand us?
Yeah, can you hear
Make
us?
sure I don't stick my arm on the
Don't
flue
touch
again.
it again.
Can you guys hear us in the chat?
I'm nervous of touching it now you said that. It looks hot, man. It's
Yeah,
not
okay,
tiny.
they can hear us.
Okay.
It's live. Oh well, what a return. For the guys who remember Bert from the last Verdun hot tub streams, he's
Bert,
back.
Bert is here.
He's back in Ypres. We brought him back.
Brought him to a new country.
Yeah, he's been living with me for the last year or half a year. And
Don't
now
tell-
after this trip, he's going home with Sander.
Don't tell the Airbnb, the previous Airbnb though.
Oh.
So for those who were asking, some people were asking where JD is. He will be here tomorrow morning. He's such a busy and in-demand guy that he's sharing his time between as many people as possible while he's in Europe. And he's coming all the way, I think, from Normandy.
Yeah.
And then he's going back to Normandy after he leaves here. So he's
Crazy guy.
he's making a 5-hour drive to us tomorrow here in Belgium just to join us for a couple of days. So we'll do another stream with JD, but not in the hot tub. Either we'll be in the hot tub and he'll be standing here like the chicken Rob is. Although I don't know if we could get 5 people in here comfortably anyway.
We could do it inside and maybe also
Yeah.
stream the game.
Yeah, so we could
None of them?
we
These are
could
comments.
yeah, we might stream inside tomorrow then.
Okay. No, I think this
And we
is
play
the
the game.
live chat.
People can watch while we play the game and annihilate each other.
Oh yeah,
this
the
is
World War
the
II
previous
game.
stream.
Yeah.
No, it's the previous, yeah, it is.
That just put all the rest of us to shame when Chris destroys us with
Well,
everything.
it's
Not
World
World
War
War II. If it was World War I would destroy you all.
That's
But
the exact reason why I bought a
Yeah.
World War II trivia game. So we
He
might
was-
have a chance.
he was threatened by my knowledge of World War I. And,
I wasn't
yeah.
because I was on your team.
Yeah.
And I knew one question that he
His knowledge on World War I is insane, by the way. That's crazy.
I knew one question that he didn't.
I don't remember
Who
what.
was the director of 1917?
Oh, it's a movie. Of
Oh,
course
is
you
it
know
Man-
it, yeah,
Mendes?
Yeah, Sam
I
Mendes.
know that now.
Yeah.
Because his grandfather or somebody he dedicated it to, like his grandfather or his great grandfather.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
It's like glowing embers coming out the bottom of this thing.
Yeah? Don't step on it like Chris
I'm
did.
dodging them. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what started it for me. So I might as well tell that story right now. So we're in a hot tub in Ypres in Belgium. This hot tub is heated by a wood burner, which you see behind me. You see the pipe sticking up there, the flue for it, right? So we had it burning, and apparently some hot coals came out of it. And I came out to check the temperature of the hot tub, and I was in my socks, and I stepped on one of the hot coals, which burned a hole through my sock. And I pulled my foot up and I lost my balance and my hand just instinctively went onto the flue, which was red hot. And so I burned my palm right here, and I've been for the last 2 hours just trying to keep it cold. Because every time I let go, take it out from under cold water or let go of a cold can, it immediately hurts like crazy. So I'm injured.
It's become a sort of tradition that you injure yourself on these trips.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we were in Normandy last summer and I took a drone to the face.
Sounds very bad, but it wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
I was
Took
really-
a drone to the face.
It looked way worse than it was. I would rather take the drone in the face than this burn any day.
It wasn't a war drone, it was just a DJI
Yeah.
drone for film. Took a drone to the face.
No, it
Like
wasn't
a predator drone.
No, nope, nothing like that.
Oh dear.
All right, so if you guys have any questions, Sean's gonna do his best to keep track of those, and he'll throw them out to
We have
us.
the super chats first. They,
And
Yeah,
we haven't had any yet. I don't
Yeah,
think.
but if they
I
come.
saw a good one not long ago from Michael. What unit did Hitler serve in during World War One?
It was the Bavarian.
He was a Bavarian. Was it a reserve unit?
Yeah,
Yeah, he was a runner.
He was a
He was a runner in the Bavarian.
It was
Italian
Bavarian.
something.
It was a Bavarian unit. He was a runner, so he went to headquarters. But some people try to spin it like Hitler was a coward because he served as a runner, but a runner was a really dangerous job.
Trust me, he didn't.
Yeah.
Wasn't coward in World War I.
Yes, he was back at headquarters at times to serve as a runner, but the messages he was delivering were going to the front lines, and so I would say by and large he probably was as much, if not more, danger than the average soldier.
He was often on the front
Someone
line.
said 16 Bavarian infantry
16
reserve.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I thought it was a reserve. Yeah.
Mm.
About
That
right.
was
got some medals as well,
Jonathan
so-
Campbell responded to that with the
Got an Ivory Cross, second class.
Now he
Yeah.
did. I have read reports that he would reject promotions so he could stay as a runner. But again, that's not an act of cowardice to do that. I mean, he just might have enjoyed the job. And
Yeah, people try to downplay it because
Yeah.
it's Hitler.
Yeah.
He
there's
was
plenty of things you can say negative about Hitler, but
Yeah.
his war service ain't one.
He
of
was
them.
a lot on the front lines.
Yeah.
He was running a lot of matches, and that's why he even earned the second Iron Cross second class, because he was running in very dangerous areas, which he almost got killed. He got like I think 3 times almost killed.
So he was here
during
at
the First World
Ypres.
War.
He was at the Somme.
Yeah.
Here at Ypres, he was here like in 1914, like right at the beginning, because he writes in his book, which I won't mention for fear of demonetization. But he writes in his book about the first Battle of Ypres. He describes what they call the massacre of the innocents, which happened at Langemarck, and kind of like writes in. It was actually quite flowery language, but kind of consistent with who the guy was as somebody who was a speaker and knew how to tell a story. So yeah.
He was also at Geluveld, where 3/4 of his whole battalion got almost annihilated. 3/4 out of the people.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot of
Yeah.
casualties. Yeah,
Yeah, I
he
mean-
survived though.
That first Battle of Ypres, and we're going to be going tomorrow to some of the battlefields of that. You got the British regular army, the ones they call the Old Contemptibles. These are like the highly trained, like go toe to toe with anybody in the world soldiers, and the British regular army was pretty much annihilated in the first Battle of Ypres.
Were those Boer War veterans? Or?
Some of them, I mean, the officers certain, and some of the NCOs certainly probably would have been. Can you swap me out?
Is it warmed up already?
Yeah, thank you.
Could you maybe grab me also a water?
Yeah, so 2 water, please.
2 water, please.
Mr. Butler.
A drink? Anyone else need a drink?
Rob, if you could go and fluff my pillows for me, that'd be great, mate. Thank
Well,
you.
normally Bert is our butler. You can see by the way he's dressed, but
He's tired from today.
He's on
served
live
us
stream.
already.
We've had a few more questions.
Okay, fire.
I've not heard of this. And World War One's not really my thing too much, but do you think Henry Tanday,
That's the guy who had Hitler in his sights.
is it
Oh,
Tanday
yeah.
or Tandy?
Tandy.
Sparing Hitler's life in World War One, is it legit? There's
Think
like
so.
3 people
I think
have
it
asked
is. I think it is, but at the same time,
why would he?
how on earth would he not have? He had him in his sights, and you know, you're on the battlefield one-on-one. That point in the war, you got a guy in your sights, and thank you.
Like you said, those were important messages. So if you could stop him.
Well, there were a number
Water,
of
please.
studies that were done about this
I'm
over
alright, mate,
time,
thank you.
and the studies have shown that by and large, most guys do not aim at the enemy when they fire on the battlefield. At least back in those days. I can't speak to modern times, but like in the Franco-Prussian War, the American Civil War, that time period, and probably World War One, most people did not fire directly at an enemy they had in their sights. And so if you were in a situation where you had a defenseless guy in your sights, probably more often than not, they didn't take that shot. And so the Henry Tandy story is certainly plausible, and it probably is
Weren't there two
in no way unique.
Were there a memoir of him and Hitler even confirming it that it happened?
Hitler did confirm it, and Henry Tandy confirmed it.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
I mean, obviously Henry Tandy couldn't have known who the guy was.
Yeah.
And it's certainly a possibility that it's one of those stories that got inflated by Hitler for, we got to stop talking about him because we're going to demonetize the video.
Charlie Chaplin, we call him.
But
Charlie Chaplin.
it's certainly one of those things that you could see him playing up to try and argue that he had a destiny because his life was spared on the battlefield.
Wasn't that why H saw the British people as like decent and honorable people?
I think
that he
that was
didn't
probably part
really
of
win
it.
the war
Yeah.
with them.
Yeah.
I learned like 2 weeks ago that H even did in 1940 he did like a surrender message towards Britain, like a peace offer.
I think he did multiple times.
He did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when was Rudolph H going?
That was 40 also, I think.
Also in
1940.
40?
Yeah.
It's around there, man.
When he flew to Scotland.
And then he just dropped a whole load of bombs on us instead.
Yeah.
So next question, Sean.
Yeah.
I'm just sifting through now. There's a lot about Henry Tande still.
So we had a lot of rain today in Ypres, a lot of rain, but we did manage to get some stuff done. You may have seen, if you follow me on Instagram, I posted yesterday that Marcel and I were in Vimy Ridge, and I wanted very badly to make some videos for you guys about Vimy Ridge, and Marcel was making videos as well, and we were shut down by the people in charge at Vimy Ridge. They did not want us making videos there, to the point where they were following us around to make sure we weren't making videos once they saw our cameras. So first time I've ever had that happen on a battlefield anywhere, US or Europe, that I've had somebody tell me you can't film here.
I had it happen in American War Cemetery in Luxembourg. So I went there with my big camera, and all of a sudden a guy comes out. He's like, no, you can't film, you can't film. And I'm like, wait, why can't I film? Yeah, it's American property. You can only do it for private use. And I'm like, okay, then I'm going to film for private use.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, bollocks. And then he told me, like, if
He
we
probably
if we
didn't
co-
say
if we-
bollocks, he was American. But
He was American. But if we come across it on YouTube, we will sue you and you will go to court in America. And I'm like, I'm
Whatever,
Dutch,
bring
so,
it.
you know.
And here's the problem, is that the day before,
we have a super chat.
JD from the History Underground and Rob were there and had no issues. In fact, JD said he told the person who was working that he was filming for YouTube, and they said, oh yeah, no problem. So I guess having
started.
600,000 subscribers has its privileges.
That started right there.
Oh yeah, I filmed
Yeah.
the whole video of Vimy Ridge last maybe June, July last year.
So all right, so
No challenge.
Yeah, because you were in the video of JD, so
Yeah.
they knew you were also.
so super chat.
Yeah, there's not much else has come
I
through,
know
but
you from
the
somewhere. Yeah. Oh,
super
great.
chat from the Apollo TD.
All right.
Apologies if I'm pronouncing that wrong. Vlogging through history, have you seen SAS Rogue Heroes BBC series?
I have not, but I've heard good things. You guys, some of you guys have seen it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I did.
I
I've
almost
only
gave
seen
him the
an
people's
episode,
elbow
actually.
yesterday for saying no.
I have reactions to every episode over on my channel.
Nice.
Oh,
Yeah. So,
yeah, you
that's
do.
so I had the links to everybody's channels in the description, but because we had to start a new one, I'll add them later. But I did a video the other day where I just announced the upcoming stuff that was happening, and the links to everybody's channels is in there. So History War Cinema. So he covers that on his channel. So check it out. But yeah, I've heard really good things about it.
I really enjoyed it. Lots of people complain about the music because they use like Motorhead music.
It doesn't bother me.
No, it didn't bother me either because I think the creator Stephen Knight, he described it as, you know, the SES were a group, they didn't play by the rules.
Right, and
So are we on the show.
you're on the cutting edge of technology.
Yeah.
It's like when A Knight's Tale, the movie A Knight's Tale, they did that. They used like Queen and stuff. And,
And you have like a scene where Paddy Mayne is on the back of a Jeep and they drive into a German base and you hear Ace of Spades. Ace of Spades, and he's like with the 50 cal.
all right, we got a couple more super chats.
Okay, so from Sar Nikki number 2.
Oh.
Hey, just wanted to show my support here, and a stellar beard just donated. So shout out to both of you guys.
Thank you. Yeah, they do have stellar beards. I'm immensely jealous.
You're growing one. You're growing one.
Yeah,
it's okay.
this is as good as it
I'm
gets, really.
sure
Though.
right now.
And JD will be here, so then we'll have 3 stellar beards among the 6 of us.
JD Beard's probably the best.
A few Warhawk, he visited Vimy Ridge and met a busload of Canadian kids driven by a happy Scottish guy.
Nice.
I bet that was quite the experience for them.
There were several student groups when we were at Vimy Ridge. A bunch of kids there. Yeah.
We met a. Oh, sorry.
Go on, no, carry on.
We met a great British guy yesterday at Manning Gate.
Tony, was it?
Yeah, the cab driver from London.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
amazing.
Block 34 of
Block
Millwall.
Of
34.
Millwall. If there are
Yeah.
any Millwall fans in the chat, we are coming to see a game in Block 34.
So yeah, so he's a season ticket holder at Millwall. He sits in Block 34, and he was we did a wreath laying at the Menin Gate for the last post ceremony, which Sander set up for us, which was awesome and amazing. And we
highlight of the trip.
we laid a wreath on in memory of my cousin Edward Whitaker, who was in the 1st Battalion, East Lancashires, was killed here at Ypres, the second Battle of Ypres, over at Mousetrap Farm. I'll be doing a video about him. Yeah, turn the sound down there just so it doesn't echo.
The wreath laying was very emotional, by the way.
Yeah, it
It
was.
was really.
It was.
There was a chorus as well, which made it very, very
yeah, that was
special.
awesome.
They were singing, "Oh," and all of a
Also a
sudden we
couple
were
of-
walking up.
Also, a
and
couple of
then-
kids laying a wreath. So that
Yeah,
was
that
good
was
to
cool.
see.
Yeah. And even the headmaster of the Last Post Association was there, like the big
So
tall guy.
if you are on my Instagram and you see the insanely tall guy on our right, on the left in the picture. That's the guy who runs the Last Post Association.
He always does it with like he did it with Queen Elizabeth and the Queen of
Yeah.
Belgium and prime ministers and yeah.
All right, we got some more super chats.
Yeah, there's one I want to say before them, and that would be
okay.
from Bristol Made Punk. Sorry, this was an interesting
Yeah.
one. If you could make one change to the Treaty of Versailles, what would that be?
Man, that's one heck of a question.
Whoa.
Maybe less payments for them. Because basically bankrupted the nation. So
I feel like even less than the
difficult.
payments part of it, but just the punitive nature of it. Like I understand sanctions and reducing their military, but like
Yeah.
taking their entire navy, taking their industrial heartland away from them.
giving away land.
It wasn't.
Yeah,
It
I mean
wasn't
the land I
really-
understand too because that was land they had taken from
Oh
the
yeah,
French.
of course, yeah.
So giving that back, I get that. But I think the fact that it was very clearly meant to punish,
Yeah.
rather
like
than
a big
to say,
FU, that was a little bit the mistake.
rather than to say we just want to prevent this from happening again. I think there's a way they could have done that without making it seem so much like we're making Germany entirely to blame for this
Yeah,
war.
I think that's a fair analogy. Yeah.
Cool. And then we got Cajun Potato Boy, who's just said, "Me and my girlfriend love your videos, Chris. We lay in bed and debate certain things after every video.
Oh.
I've been along since the start. Keep it up. Love your content." And that was 10 years.
Oh, thank you for that,
Nice.
but also thank you for that. That's a compliment. I consider the fact that it causes you to talk
I
and
wanna-
have conversations, and it makes you want to go learn more.
I want to know what they debate about.
Yeah,
If you can easily talk with your girlfriend, then it should be good. But
Yeah.
not a lot of people can do that in relationships.
but I love that it leads to further conversations. I think that's
No,
great.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's why you do it.
yeah.
Zach Mills, Everton, is
Zach.
winning the Premier League 2025. My sources of trust.
Zach Mills is a Houston Astros fan, so he has no idea what he's talking about.
Zach Mills seems to be
Probably City again.
confused. Yeah.
I have to say Liverpool, but because my coach is going there. So.
Yeah. He's a Feyenoord. Is that?
Feyenoord.
Feyenoord. Yeah.
Sure.
So their coach just became the new coach at Liverpool. So
Don't unfollow me just because you support Ajax. I'm a great guy.
and he supports Ajax. So.
But I'm a fake football fan, so don't worry.
Why?
We got.
I don't watch it anymore.
Anders
No.
P. Have you guys heard of the Psalm Viking ships?
Salme, S-A-L-M-E. No, I'm not familiar with it.
No, I
Salme
don't
Viking
know.
ships?
Tell us about it.
I'm assuming it's a type of Viking ship. I
Yeah.
guess, is it? Yeah.
Or where was it a particular attack or
Oh, yeah,
something? I don't know.
Navy Ocean. Hello, nice to have a hot tub stream again. My question: have any of your thoughts/opinions changed on anything since the last stream? I presume that's the last hot tub stream.
Yeah.
Or perhaps you've learned new things since your old videos.
Ooh.
I think I'm constantly learning,
Oh, yeah,
and,
same, yeah.
and like a lot of my opinions, especially opinions that I have that are very like strong and forceful and kind of very like on one end, like and not nuanced at all. Those tend to soften over time. I mean, even my political views, which I won't get into here, but you know, I used to be much further to one side of the political spectrum, but as I get older, as I get wiser,
That's what happens.
as I understand that, you know what, just because I believe this doesn't mean it's necessarily what's best or even that I'm right. And that's okay.
So now you're on the extreme end of one side.
Yeah, yeah, no. But yeah, I find that my stances on most things soften over time, except that on Woodrow Wilson. That will always.
Woodrow Wilson.
And understand, please understand. I and just it's almost like a meme at this point. My hate of Woodrow Wilson. I do play that up a lot. First of all, I don't think he's the worst president in American history. He's just the one I hate the most.
The hot tub is really hot, so I'm trying to keep my body a little bit out of it because man,
I think it's okay.
It is warm.
the fire is still on, so
Yeah.
it's warming up.
I think you're just getting aroused or something.
Oh
yeah,
no!
probably. 4 men
Don't
in a
get me
hot tub.
demonetized.
Oh shit.
If only someone had warned you guys it was going to get too hot.
Oh.
If only someone had said 2 hours ago, you know, it feels hot enough. Maybe we should stop putting fire in there.
No, more wood. Who is your most favourite, Chris? Teddy Roosevelt or James Garfield?
Oh, Roosevelt. Garfield could have been, but you know, Garfield is so much the what if because he was assassinated. He died 6 months into his term. So, like a lot of people, like John F. Kennedy, like Andrew or Stonewall Jackson, when people die in the middle of their greatness, we tend to overplay their greatness because we think about what could have been. And more often than not, I mean, think about it. If George W. Bush had died a year after 9/11, he'd go down as one of the most popular presidents in history.
Yeah, sure.
It was most of his second term is what made people turn against him. So if JFK had been reelected, as I think he probably would have been, he might not be nearly as popular as he was, or as he is, because he was assassinated and he was young. And Garfield, same way.
Well, JFK are like martyr status now.
Right. Yep.
That's true. Died a legend.
Yep.
Okay, for the Dutchies here, so
Dutchies. Well, it is that time. It's too early for a lot of
Sandra and
Americans.
Marcel, do you have a favourite PM?
I know who Sanders is.
Of
That's
the,
easy.
of the Netherlands?
Oh, of the Netherlands.
Well,
Oh, okay.
The thing with me is
It's not Rutte, for sure.
No, it's not Rutte. So the thing with me is I am a fan of what the stuff that the form of democracy is saying in the sense of their agenda, but what the head leader of that political
Who is
party
the prime minister?
is a little bit
we don't have
a little bit
one.
shady
Oh, you don't have one?
sometimes. So he a little bit screwed it up.
They have
But to be
one
fair, now I
coming up, yeah.
strategically voted for the PVV.
Oh, jeez.
So that's what I
The
did
water
to make
coming out of this is
some
hot.
to make some
No
change in
problem. I'm right
the
by the
Netherlands.
hottest
You
part.
wanna?
you wanna
I can
rotate
scoot
around
over
a
a little bit.
No, I'm okay. Just every so often,
What's
hot
yours,
water
Marcel?
comes out.
Do you want me to put the thing out?
Okay,
Marcel still in
Can
I
you?
have no opinion, but really,
neutral.
no.
Oh, it's still
Just to be fair, like the whole political
Yeah.
system in the Netherlands is a little bit shitty. I hope things are going to change, but I doubt it.
Crappy.
Crappy. Oh, sorry.
Crappy.
YouTube. Sorry, YouTube.
YouTube, we smacked him, so we're okay.
okay, this is a good one. Who was the better leader, Winston Churchill or Franklin Roosevelt?
Churchill.
Churchill.
Churchill all the way.
Churchill.
And listen, that's nothing against Franklin Roosevelt. I think he was a great leader on the military end. Not perfect, and neither was Churchill for that
Yeah,
matter.
Churchill's had his flaws.
I think the Churchill had the much tougher job.
Yeah, and he had, I think, a little bit more bigger flaws. That makes sense.
His flaws were bigger. That's
Yeah.
fair. Yeah.
Yeah, I think with Churchill, whether you look at his flaws for what they were, or however you view him, he was what the country needed at the time. Was that type of leader?
Yeah, strong leader.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
I knew it was going to come up, but what do you think about the Trump conviction?
I honestly haven't followed it. To be honest, speaking completely objectively, I would love it if there was another nominee. I would love that for both parties. I wish we had two different choices than the ones we have. I think, honestly, 99% of the people I talk to that are Americans say they don't want to vote for either one of them. They're really voting more against the other person than for.
Yeah. Like a strategical vote.
So I would be perfectly happy. It won't happen. I'd be perfectly happy if this led the Republican Party to choose a different nominee, but I don't think it will.
Well, I'm Dutch, so I'll be completely direct. I think it's a little bit of a, I wouldn't say scam, but I think the Democrat Party really don't want him to be president. That's literally all I really can
True.
say about it. They really, really don't want him to be president. And I think that's why this happened in that case.
Cajun Potato Boy again for another $10 US.
Thank you.
My girlfriend has a degree in anthropology. Your videos about the revolutionary period is a hot topic with her, and she loves to debate you. And I remind you, you can't actually hear her. You can't hear her,
Well,
but she can speak through you.
Tell her to please leave comments and tell me what she thinks I'm wrong about. I would love to hear it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Spooky,
Challenge me.
Spooky Boy, glad to see the puppet return. So shout out Bert.
Bert.
There he is.
Shout out Bert.
Bert made it all the way from Verdun.
France to the Netherlands, from the Netherlands to Belgium, and now in a few days to France again.
Back to France, yeah.
First, the second best looking guy outside of the hot tub.
So yeah, so those who are wondering, we are in Ypres in Belgium for a few days, and we're heading to the Somme on Monday.
I think we all be as wrinkly after the end of the live stream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm hoping you pointed at Bert instead
Yeah.
of me.
Apollo TD again. Who's worse, Woodrow Wilson or Neville Chamberlain?
Wilson.
There we are, Wilson.
So Chamberlain had good intentions. He was not the right leader for the right situation. I think he was too naive,
Too soft. Yeah.
too soft. But it's easy to say that in hindsight
Yeah, when you know
Yeah.
what happened.
when we know how it
Yeah.
turned out.
He tried diplomacy. And that's
Woodrow Wilson, on the other hand, was actively doing things to hurt entire groups of people. So that's a different animal, I think. Somebody was trying to call shot.
So from, I want to say OHM or OHM, I'll try both. Where would you least want to fight at? The Somme, Passchendaele or Verdun?
Oh.
None of the above.
Well, depending on the psalm and which date.
I'll say Passchendaele, just the stories and the accounts you hear from the,
Yeah, that was brutal.
the
They-
hellish
Well,
environment.
Verdun was as well.
I mean, the
Verdun was
sheer
as well.
amount of shells at Verdun is a bit of
Yeah.
a turn off.
They were
Yeah.
all awful, but I think Passchendaele was more awful,
Just the conditions.
if that's possible. Just the overall conditions.
Yeah.
The
I mean,
mud as
the Psalm
well.
the first day is probably the worst of the three,
Yeah.
Yeah.
just because your percentage chances of dying were the highest in one single day if you were one of those guys. Verdun was probably overall the worst for the entire length,
Yeah.
but for at least
Yeah.
a month or two, Passchendaele was probably the worst place on planet
So what
Earth.
if we say like this hypothetically? If you knew you wouldn't die,
If I knew I wouldn't die, it would be the Psalm.
Your best
yeah.
chances.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I knew I wouldn't die, then the
Swap
psalm.
again. Sorry,
Yeah,
I'm making you
sorry,
the
sorry.
runner for me.
Man, you're really warming these up as
Yeah.
well.
It's hurting still.
Oh yeah, as soon as it's not
Did
cold
see a
anymore.
good one. Wayward Templar. What was Churchill's greatest flaw?
Getting captured during the Boer War. That's what he said. It was his greatest flaw in his memoirs. Is it that bad?
It's really bad right now. It's the worst it's been
Because your veins are opening up because of it.
because of the heat. Yeah.
It's bouncing. You feel your heart.
I think Churchill's policies on India and the empire in general not good.
Well, to be fair, there's the big debate on him with India, with the Indian famine that happened there.
Yeah.
That it was Churchill's fault, but I don't think it was his
What's
fault
the painkillers?
because there was a bit drought and stuff. Like
You
it
can
was
bring us some
dry.
painkillers.
Oh man, it's getting really worse, right?
You have painkillers with you?
I do, but I don't know how many I have.
I have some in my backpack.
Ibuprofen I have for you. What?
That might be good because that's an
Two?
anti-inflammatory.
Should I? Oh yeah.
How many are they? 200 milligrams?
4.
Do 4. Yeah.
If it's not somewhere personal, you're going to get it.
Get him all the milligrams.
All
2 or 4
milligrams.
or?
If they're 200 milligrams, give me 4.
No, they're 400.
Oh, 402 then.
2? 800?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I do 800 all the time.
Okay. Oh, he's American, like medical stuff.
We do
and
everything.
It's always on drug related, right?
I'm not from Texas, but go big or go home.
Oh, how does it feel getting out of the hot tub?
Maybe I should get
Refreshing?
like my heart out of it.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Got red in my chest.
Yeah, it's really hot. The fire is still stoking.
I'm a little lightheaded too.
Yeah, so
The Salme Viking ships, this is from Anders P again,
Oh, okay.
another €10 or dollar,
Mm-hmm.
are 2 ship burials in Estonia dated
Oh.
around 700 AD. First was found in 2008, the second a few years later with 42 men buried with the ships.
Oh wow.
The
Wow.
History Channel covered it.
Very
apparently.
cool.
that's cool.
That is cool because Viking stuff I'm really into, so I'll check that out.
Well, I'm a big fan
Thank
of
you, Anders.
History Channel content as of late. And if you don't have the History Channel and you're in a country other than the U.S. where you can't watch it streamed on their channel, they have been uploading 10-minute segments to their YouTube channel, and you'll see me in some of those, especially the one from today.
It's liquid
Thank
caps,
you,
so
sir.
they work
That's okay.
faster.
Oh,
Thank
man.
you.
Can we get like wood out of it? Probably not, right?
I didn't put my lips on it if you
No,
want to
you
drink any
can
of it.
just leave it, it'll be fine, it'll burn out.
You don't have blue waffle.
So different countries enjoying the hot tub together. Okay, let's just go on. So it's so amazing to see all of you from different countries enjoying the hot tub together. Shows how
it's
much
okay.
we all have in common.
Yeah.
History.
And that is what
Yeah,
we
let's
are as
forget
human beings and what we're all about. And I completely agree. So
Amen.
thank you.
Amen.
It's Pluto.
It's Pluto.
Pluto? Pluto?
Pluto.
The British are there.
Pluto.
Sean, can you tell me one thing? What is this?
Bottle of water.
Bottle.
So let me just say this about these guys. So number one, I probably spend more time on an average day, even back home, talking to these guys than I do anybody else. Because we have a group chat called the Backstreet Boys. Long story.
If you watch the last hot tub stream, you know.
They'll know.
And so we chat. Like it started as a way for us to coordinate for these trips, but we also talk about history. We talk about current events and all kinds of stuff. And so these guys are, these are some of my best friends in the world, and I mean that by the world, right? So we have. So and when JD gets here tomorrow, we're gonna have 2 Americans, 2 Brits, and 2 Dutchmen. So nicely balanced.
I always was
me.
I was just about to say I almost was going to hug you, but it's because you're half naked. I won't do it.
British
Don't offer
on
me
it,
any
yeah.
sausage either.
I'm sorry I'm facing away as well. It's easier to read the
Yeah.
phone.
And it's really hot in here.
I tried to prop myself
You
up.
can get
I
out.
slipped.
It's okay to stand here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then it would be cold.
No.
Oh, that's way better.
People
already.
just got a very different
Oh,
type
this
of
is
life.
okay.
No,
so we
I don't want you to see that part of my body. So.
Oh,
So we got 5-star sailor. Would you rather be in a World War One in the trenches or in a World War One submarine?
Trenches.
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 Yeah, submarine.
At least the
Submarine,
trenches.
I think.
At least the trenches, I feel like you have an element of control of your own
Right.
destiny.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
You know, artillery and stuff's one thing, but in a sub, you've got nowhere.
And even in World War II, when the sub technology is much better, I mean, what, like 2/3 of German U-boats, those guys died.
Yeah.
You had a 2 in 3 chance of dying on a U-boat. In World War I, there was all kinds of mechanical things that could go wrong, and it was early technology still.
Thomas, sorry, I can't really read
Oh, Thomas Walsh, did King George V make a mistake by not saving his cousin Tsar Nicholas II? I thank you for that super chat, by the way. I think yes, but I understand the thought process at the time, and you have to look at it and see, of all of the monarchies that went into the Great War, which one's the only one that really survived the Great War? It was the British. All the other monarchies of all the other major powers and some of the minor ones did not survive.
True.
I mean, Italy's did, but it only survived a couple years until it was. You just knocked all 3 bottles over. That was impressive. So in hindsight, I say yes, but I understand why he was worried about the optics of that. But I feel like he could have maybe arranged for them to go somewhere else without coming to the UK. I mean, because they did in World War II, they brought the Queen of the Netherlands, Queen Wilhelmina.
Wilhelmina, yeah.
She came to the UK. So they certainly did that, and she wasn't really as closely related to them as Nicholas was. Nicholas's wife was George's first cousin. She was a granddaughter of Queen Victoria.
They look the same also.
Yeah, and him and George, they were first cousins through their mothers, so they were both first cousins of his.
From Scottish Mad Lad.
Nice.
I quite like this one. What was the worst job to be in the military wise during the First and Second World War?
It's got to be sapper, right?
I would say that, or probably a medic.
Oh yeah.
Stretcher bearer would be a pretty
Stretcher-
tough one.
Treasure bearer at a place
Yeah.
like Passchendaele.
I mean, if you go World War One, maybe a tunneler.
Oh, no,
Yeah.
tunneler.
The
Oh,
tunnelers in World War One.
But I think
Brutal.
like, and I can't talk from experience, but if you're a tunneler, you're tunneling. If you're an infantry, you're fighting. If you're a sapper, you're doing your thing.
Yeah.
A medic just sees carnage day in, day out. Like
Mentally, that would probably be the hardest
your
job.
friends blown apart. Like, I don't know. That'd probably be the worst for me.
Yeah.
And you have to run towards the fight instead
Yeah.
of.
Yeah. Medic.
It's certainly a brave job because you're not even in a position really to fight back.
No.
You, in many ways, feel helpless.
Whether you're armed or not, you're still
Yeah, even if you're armed,
your primary objective is to save the casualty, right?
And if you're armed and you do fight back, at that point, you make yourself more of a target if you aren't already.
And the horrors of war isn't like the movies. It's not just a gunshot wound. You know, there's some horrendous
Yeah.
injuries you're dealing with. And if you're on the front for 1 month, 2 month, a year, 2 year, you know, seeing that a lot, I think every other job has its job and that's your purpose. But a medic's the only one where you're going to see just
Real
just
horror.
real, yeah.
People have to remember too. I mean, with World War One, what just in addition just to the terrain and the mud and all that sort of stuff, there's flies that are horrible. I mean, the bodies of your friends might be 10 feet in front of you and decaying, and there's not a darn thing you can do about it. But leave them there until the next time you attack.
Medic.
Because a lot of times they just, even 10 feet away was too dangerous. Some guys would get killed in the trench early in the war before they had communications and support trenches. And you,
That was starting to move.
Someone just said worst military job in World War II. Then the same medic, like it's
think we saw a picture in the museum
even in
today,
modern day,
like,
I think medic is still
Two guys
still
chilling out.
worse.
oh, thank you.
And there was like a body next to them, like the same
Yeah.
distance where we were.
Yeah.
You remember the picture on the?
The picture, that was a picture that was taken during the battles in Ypres. And yeah, there was a body literally 10
On
feet
both
away
sides of
from
them,
them.
yeah.
2 bodies. One of them was already, you could tell, kind of in bad shape.
But one of them wasn't even 10 feet. It was like this
Yeah,
distance.
yeah. He was right next to the guy. At some point, you probably just get shut off to the emotions of it. You have to in order to survive.
And rats are coming in and.
Yeah, rats. Oh gosh, yeah.
Okay,
The
Cajun,
water.
Cajun potato boy again.
Thank you.
$5 US. Girlfriend wants to know Alexander Hamilton for president if he wasn't killed, yay or nay? She is a hearty yay.
I'm a hearty yay, but I would also say you missed a real opportunity. You should have done $10 there because Alexander Hamilton's on the $10 bill. So. But thank you. I'm joking, but no, absolutely. And the whole future of American politics maybe looks different because maybe the Federalist Party that really he was the head of doesn't die off if Alexander Hamilton lives. People forget he's only in his late 40s when he dies. He still had decades ahead of him. His wife lived another 50 years after that.
Mad respect to Cajun Potato Boy. So he's just commented again saying he was a medic in Afghanistan circa 2011 in Kandahar. So he totally feels it's the worst job. And the worst job would have been a medic in the World Wars. And my dad was in Vietnam as an MP, so that's military police.
Yeah. So thank you, and thank you for your dad. And
Respect.
he doesn't want us to talk about it, but Marcel is also in Iraq.
No.
He's also a veteran, and he was a medic. Yeah, so among other jobs, but he was a medic. So, yeah.
What are your thoughts on Sergeant Stubby? Do I want to know what that is?
Stubby.
I don't want to know.
Is that what you call it, Sander?
Sander, how's Sergeant Stubby?
Doing all right, mate.
He's good.
This is not your typical VTH live stream.
It's like a penis, but bigger.
Serious apologies for.
In the European
Most-
theatre, which battle would you consider the most important on the Western Front? Which battle do you consider the most important? 1 on the Western Front, or 2 on the Eastern Front? And that's from
World War One.
Caesar Norbert.
Eastern Front, easy. Stalingrad.
Are you talking World War One
I think
or
he's
two?
talking about World War One. Western Front.
In the
right?
Western Front and Eastern Front's got.
All right, so World War II,
Yeah.
we could say Stalingrad. I think in the Eastern
Yeah.
Front for
That
sure.
was brutal.
World War One, I would say on the Western Front, First Battle of the Marne. That's where the tide of the war turned. That's where the French, with a little bit of help from the British, but mostly the French, stopped the German advance on Paris. And I think even the general-in-chief at the time of the German army, Moltke, felt that once they lost the First Battle of the Marne, that they couldn't win the war.
Oh, I feel really bad now. So Michael said Sergeant Stubby was the most decorated dog in World War One.
Oh really?
He learned how to detect mustard gas and met 3 US presidents and met General George Patton. So if that's true, that's really cool.
Nice.
I need to look up. I
See,
need
we
to look
learn
up
something new every day.
Sergeant Stubby. I need to educate my Sander. Put it away.
Thanks for that.
So, Scottish Mad Lad, I see your chat about John Adams. I think that was a very faithful portrayal of who John Adams was. Even the details of the places that they show, like if you visit John Adams' house at Peacefield, which I've been to, you can't shoot video in there, but if you visit there, it looks identical to what they show in the HBO series. They did a great job with that.
Did you see the new series with Michael Douglas?
Yes, and
It's good.
yeah, my shout out to Michael Douglas because his son's a fan of the channel, longtime fan of the channel, Dylan.
Nice.
Shout out Dylan if you're watching.
Okay, Hamish Simpson, who's donated 1.99 of his finest English
Pounds.
When did
VTH, supposed to be VTH. I think.
Vlogging for History become a hot tub streamer?
Hot tube streamer. Yeah,
In
yeah,
November,
yeah.
back in November.
So when did Vlogging for History become a hot tub streamer is what I'm going to translate that to.
Yeah, so in November when we were in Verdun, we did 2 of them. And so when we were looking for where we were going to stay in Ypres, we decided we needed to have a hot tub so we could do another stream. And it's quite a bit warmer out here than it was in Verdun in
More
November.
light.
There's more light, yeah, because it doesn't get dark till 10 o'clock now.
He's just trialing to see if it works for his OnlyFans channel.
I do want to get a hot tub at my house, but I would have to get it installed, and that would cost a lot of money.
You have to fly also in.
Then you
Yeah.
have to fly us
Yeah,
out,
exactly.
let's be honest.
The problem is I wanted to get one of those inflatable ones, which aren't very expensive, but I don't have a plug on the back of my house to plug it
Okay.
into, so I can't. Yeah.
Put it in your basement.
I'll have
George Koshaba, apologies again if I've butchered that, and I'm probably going to butcher these names. Could you possibly make more videos on the history of Assyria
Oh yeah.
and Mesopotamia?
Mesopotamia. I'm getting more into. I'm actually listening.
Ancient history.
I'm listening to Dan Carlin's podcast series on the Assyrians right now.
Oh, he's
He
so
opens
good.
up talking about Thermopylae, and
Oh,
yeah.
I forget the name of it off the top of my head, but it's really long and like multi-parts. But I've been listening to it, and it's really good. So I'm sure I'll be definitely doing more content.
Dan Carlin, one of the best podcasts.
Oh,
Wasn't
Dan
there,
Carlin's
wasn't there
fantastic.
some fighting in that region during World War One as well?
Oh yeah, there was. I mean, you got Lawrence of Arabia
Yeah,
helping.
Iraq.
Yeah, that movie also great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unmentional for $10 US.
Oh, thank you.
I have a friend's dad who is a Vietnam vet. I've never had a chance to thank him for his service. What would be a good way to thank him besides a simple thank you for his service?
I would say, I mean, honestly, I'm not a veteran myself. Maybe one of the veterans here could speak to that a little bit more.
I don't know. Do you have like foundations in America?
Oh, I'm sure we do.
Maybe
Oh, we have a lot.
making a donation.
Like the
POW, yeah.
the POW organization is a big one for Vietnam veterans.
I think
For
that-
veterans,
Helping bring those guys home that are still missing.
Veterans
Yeah.
Affairs. How do you call that?
Yeah.
I wouldn't make a big fuss
VA?
about thanking him, but maybe like if he likes his beer or cigars or something, just buy him some beers and say, you know, thank you.
Yeah.
Just a simple thank you.
Yeah.
Don't worry about this for your service. Just, you know, thank you. I know what you did, and just leave it at that.
Appreciate it.
But yeah,
Yeah.
don't. I can't speak for every vet. I'm not a vet of a war myself, but I've been in the military, so you know it's.
Yeah, maybe he doesn't want to talk about
A
it.
lot
Yeah.
of people, they're not.
More often
They
than not.
don't. 9 times out of 10, most of my friends that have served, they don't want to make a fuss about it. But if you buy them a beer, they're happy with that, you know, and just a conversation, but
Yeah.
not. Don't preach them or thank them too much.
No.
Did that make sense?
Yeah.
They'll feel comfortable.
Yeah, but I can't speak for Americans. You know, that's
Yeah.
just from a British perspective. People,
I think it's largely the same, though. I mean, more often than not, the American veterans that I know, they're the same way. They're not gonna,
Even with World War II, they all say the real heroes are buried back in
yeah.
Europe.
Yeah.
And they'll certainly appreciate a thank you. And I still do that. If I'm out somewhere and I see a guy that's got like a hat that says Vietnam vet or World War II vet, something, the lights came on, I'll just walk up and shake his hand and say thank you, and just go about my day. And if he wants to talk more, great. If not,
Yeah. I'm British, so I just think clear.
yeah. Ooh, hello, Bert.
A Guinness.
Bert's falling over. The wind caught him.
Don't worry, I'm there. Don't worry
It's a
about it.
Cajun potato boy again. You can spend a day with any single historical figure and pick their brain. Who would you pick?
We got that question even done.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
man.
It goes a bit further. What would you talk about? And no impact on the future.
Can I do it first?
No
Yeah.
impact on the
Can I do it
future.
first?
Yeah.
Damn it.
Winston Churchill, the first question I would ask him is, how big are your balls? Because that is insane that he stood up on his
Yeah.
own against the whole parliament,
Yeah.
against the Germans, the
Yeah.
Nazi.
I would talk to Napoleon and I would say, what'd you think of the movie? No, seriously though, it would be Napoleon, and honestly, I wouldn't want to even talk to him because I think we talk enough and learn enough about his campaigns. He was interested in a lot of other things: science, the law, literature. He was a writer. Like I would just be interested in some of those other things. Julius Caesar would be another one.
yeah,
I'd
that's-
really love to
Marcus
talk to.
Aurelius.
I'd have to learn more Latin before I talk to Julius Caesar. Julius Caesar.
I think we had this question before, and
Yeah, we're done.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I
You
I
said
think,
the
I
guy with
think,
the mustache,
I think
right?
I'll stick to my guns and
Yeah.
say that I probably would have a sit down with Hitler, but not because I support
Might
him.
just have to put.
I would more
Burn
just
away.
want to get into his head and ask
it's
him
bedtime,
why. What's the
Yeah,
what's the
bedtime,
true
I've
root
done
cause? Because we've
bedtime.
read his literature, and,
Yeah.
but I'd probably ask him about his experiences in World War One to hear a first-hand account and try and understand
Well, just
the
to
man he
learn,
became.
to learn how his brain works.
Because he did terrible things, but ultimately he was a superpower, right?
Right.
So getting into his head and working out
Yeah,
just
that's-
how the cogs turn would be interesting to me.
Yeah.
I by no means support him. I'm just
Yeah.
saying, you know,
Yeah.
I'm a man of intrigue.
Yeah, to expand on that, I mean, so much of what we know of him is what we see from it, like his speeches.
Yeah.
We know his public persona, but privately,
That's
I
just
mean,
one side of him.
and there's a few videos that have like clips of him speaking privately, like his private speaking voice, which was very different. But yeah,
5-star sailor again, $10 US.
Thank you.
Another sub question. Speaking as an active submarine service
Oh.
member, you lunatic.
awesome. You are an insane man, but awesome. Good for you.
What do you think of men and women who volunteer for that service in history? All lunatics.
Gutsy, brave. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, you have to know what you're getting into. I couldn't be in the Navy, period, just because of the whole below decks, and I get seasick anyway. But
I can't even comprehend what goes through your mind when you think, I'm going to join the military. Submarines.
Yeah.
Especially in World War
Like-
One when it was still relatively.
Yeah,
new
I want to be
technology,
close to
but-
my body like this for like half a year,
Yeah.
and it's have no privacy at all, even when you're taking a
Yep.
poop.
I just feel like, and I'm not a believer in fate, karma, destiny really, but in there you can't control anything. You've got, I don't know how big the room is that you live in or you work in.
Well, I think
even
they
smaller, yeah.
they sleep in shifts. I mean, I think
Yeah, hot bedding, right? So
Yeah,
they
yeah,
don't even have,
yeah.
you know, you swap beds. But as an infantier or whatever branch of the military you're in, you choose your footsteps, you move where you need to. You do. It's just a level of control that I couldn't release.
yeah.
Yeah.
True.
Just a heads up too, we're probably only going to go about an hour, so about 15 more minutes, just because I don't think long term it's a good idea to be in this heat, this hot tub this long. So
Yeah, I'm ginger as well.
We're gonna have a live heart attack on.
But
You guys are all going
tomorrow we'll definitely
Suddenly you
stream.
passed out.
We'll definitely stream with JD and I
You stay in that hot tub.
Really
I
strong,
almost
mate.
overheated.
Really strong.
we're not from your generation. So.
Yeah, because you're 25 and we're all seasoned.
Jeez, man, I almost overheated.
Okay, let's get back to it. Do you think an Anglo-German alliance was possible before World War One? Like scaling down navy expansion, the Brits regarded France and Russia a bigger threat to their colonial authority?
I think that's
That's
with the caveat that he gave, that's a possibility. Like once the naval expansion started, that was out the window. But 20 years before, possibly.
Yeah.
You have close familial ties with the monarchs, although the monarch obviously doesn't have nearly as much power in the UK. But I think it's possible. And I also think that an American German alliance was possible before the late 1800s.
Anders P, who's previously donated about the Salme Viking burial, he's just said, please react to the Viking burial. It'll blow your mind.
Yeah. Oh, that sounds like a great
Oh,
story.
like on the ship, and then they shoot it with a flaming arrow.
No, he just means that specific one that they found all the
Oh,
Vikings
okay.
buried in. Yeah.
Anders, I'll do my best to remind Chris Daly that he needs to consider that.
And what about the Viking pool that they have in the museum?
They have.
I've seen that
Yes.
in York.
It's
Yeah.
huge.
Yep.
There's a copper light about
Yep.
this big.
Yeah,
I went to
there
see
is.
it last year. It
Oh,
was,
really?
It was massive. Yeah.
There's great history in York.
Jorvik
Jorvik for the Vikings, the Boricum for the Romans.
Mad respect to the guy who laid that.
It was a small log. It was.
Yeah, it really was.
What are your thoughts on the Cossacks? I'm conflicted about them. That's from RB.
They're hardcore.
Yeah, great warriors.
Yeah. Like a lot of people that many.
That dance that they do. That's
Yeah,
pretty hardcore.
Very particular culture around that. I mean, I think of other warrior cultures like the Spartans or the samurai,
Mongols.
Mongols. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a very specific warrior culture, and I think that they embodied that well.
I'm really deep into samurai lately. I watched the Shogun.
Oh yeah.
show.
And now there's a show called Samurai that I saw today.
Oh
Man, there's a game just come out on PC called Ghost of Tsushima
Oh.
about samurai.
Nice.
I've already played it on
I-
PlayStation.
yeah, I
It's
did.
amazing.
I need to play that when I get it.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Oh, there's the wind. Hopefully it's not messing us up too much. You think Germany could have done better if Bismarck wasn't fired? Well, he would have been dead by the First World War anyway,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I think Germany certainly would have been more prone to diplomacy
That's
had
a
he not been
legendary
fired.
figure right there.
Yeah. And hey, that's just one of the things I love about Sabaton. If you're a Sabaton fan, the way they work. Oh no! There goes the wind.
Oh,
And I
shit.
just stuck my hand in the water.
Medic! You want me to do it?
No, I got it.
Is Sean on it?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if I'm on it.
Yeah.
But
They want to see you.
No one wants to see me.
one of the things I love about Sabaton is the way they work history into the lyrics of their songs, even in small ways. Like
Dropping dates.
in the song Bismarck, which is about the ship, but it's named after him. In the bridge, they say they are bound by iron and blood, which that was a famous quote from Bismarck from his speech about iron and blood. So I just appreciate those little things like that.
Oh, it was bound to happen, wasn't it? Donny, what's your thoughts on the UK election?
Labour's going to win big. How big is the question? Somebody
You're
told
the Brit, so you have
So somebody told it to me this way, and it's somebody that I trust on this who works in politics. He said that in the UK, the default setting politically for the UK is conservative. But when there's a great movement to get something accomplished, they'll go heavily Labour, and there'll be a big landslide for Labour. But then
move
eventually
back.
they'll default back to
Yeah.
conservative. Because if you look, the times the conservatives get in tend to be a lot longer than the times that Labour gets in. I mean, when's the last time Labour had a significant prime minister? Tony Blair.
If they only could meet in the middle, that would be.
Yeah, oh yeah. And I'm not saying I endorse one or the other. I'm just
No,
saying
no.
that seems to be the way it is.
Blair. Ugh. I genuinely don't think I want to comment on it because it's just
What?
too much time and energy is spent on my own government thinking about it, and I try not to.
When are you coming to Australia? George says.
Yeah.
I was actually, for the very first time, I was looking at flights from the U.S. to Australia and New Zealand. So it's in the back of my mind. Probably though, the first trip to that hemisphere of the world is going to be China. We're looking at doing a group trip to China probably in 2026. So that'll be happening. Get to see the Terracotta Warriors, get to see the Great Wall, get to see Tiananmen Square.
I have to be on that one.
Yeah, so I will let you guys know
Yeah.
first dibs. It's actually not very expensive either.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's not as bad as like the Germany and Austria or the Italy trips were. I'm gonna do another Italy trip for sure, because that was really popular and I loved Italy. So
Okay, we got Apollo TD again for another £5 English. Quite like this one. It's slightly on the last, but if World War III happens with Russia, is Keir Starmer strong enough, or is Boris Johnson going to have a Churchillian comeback? I'm all for Bojo.
yeah,
I am a Bojo lover. He's a bit of a bumbling idiot, but yeah, I'll leave it at that.
I think I don't know a ton about Starmer, but what I've seen of him, I think he'd be up to it. But I really don't know much about his politics. I've only seen him speak on TV and kind of heard what he says. So I'm honestly not in a great position to answer that.
I think Bojo or Boris Johnson, he makes his mistakes and
Yeah.
he kind of owns them a little bit. Obviously, it's hidden a lot, but he just kind of gets on with things without, he doesn't pay people off.
Yeah.
It seems. I don't know. He could be, but he just kind of makes his mistake. Everyone takes the piss out of him, and we move on. But he has done some good, and his time as PM was a challenging time.
Yeah.
We had COVID
yeah.
and all that. Yeah, he made mistakes, but he's not an expert on all of that.
Yeah,
He has advisors to advise him, so you can only go on so much. That's what's told.
I could definitely see a situation where there would be a big push toward his side of the aisle, so to speak.
I think Bojo would
if
be more
there was a war
pro-military
like
than
that.
Keir
Yeah.
Starmer.
Yeah.
I think Bojo. Yeah, Bojo. General Quinn, $20.
Thank you, General Quinn.
Loved your channel, learning a lot of great stuff. Keep up the good work. Thank you,
Appreciate that.
General Quinn.
I'd be curious to know, just not to toot my own horn, but just to hear from some more objective people, because I was in it, so I'm not really objective. Those of you who saw the History Channel documentary, what did you think of it? Now, I'll add this as a caveat, and I am going to be doing a video, hopefully while I'm here, I'll shoot it and get it uploaded, kind of talking about the background into how that was made and what the instructions were and everything. Understand that 4-hour documentary had a very specific target audience, and I was told this up front. The target audience was Americans who don't know anything about World War One. So those of you who maybe are from the UK or Germany or some other country where you are steeped in that history and know a lot about that, maybe it wasn't geared toward you.
Yeah.
So those of you who maybe didn't know a lot about World War One but watched it, I'd be curious to know what you think of it overall, not just the parts I was in.
We got the Chris Richards. If you lads like Rorke's Drift, I very much do.
Yes.
As in Beacon. I think you mean Brecon Beacons in Wales. They have
Brecon,
Brecon.
Brecon, yeah.
They have a museum where the colours were stolen. That was stolen by the Zulus.
Oh, interesting.
In the Battle of Istanbul, and they do, yes. And they've
Yeah.
also got several VCs there. So recently
Oh,
in the
yeah.
UK, I sent you guys some pictures. I
Yeah, you went to the
visited.
graves.
I went to John Chard's grave and Henry Hook. So
Oh,
I
nice, yeah.
visited both their graves in the UK.
That's a long-term like goal. I want to go to South Africa and go to Isla and
Yeah.
Luana and Rorke Drift.
Yeah. and
There
then-
are a few videos on YouTube of people going there.
Yeah.
And it just something I always feel like I have to point out when talking about Rorke Drift and Isla and Luana. Despite the movie, which I think the movie's great, they were not the South Wales Borderers, and they were not a majority Welsh regiment at the time. There were Welshmen in it, but they were a minority, and they only became the South Wales Borderers in the 1880s. But that's why the flag and everything is there, because they were redesignated as a Welsh regiment.
It was predominantly English,
Yeah.
then Welsh.
Yep.
Then there was some Scots, some Irish, Swiss,
Yeah.
and I think there was about 4 Irish.
Mm.
I think. Don't quote me.
So they weren't singing Men of Harlech at the end of the battle, anything like that. But I think they were actually based in Staffordshire at the time of the battle, is where their home base was.
Wasn't it the
Was that orange?
Oh, the orange one. That's I think the one he's got pulled up
so
now.
Gerald
Okay.
Quinn? Lovely. So we've already read that
Oh, yeah.
one. I just went back to that because it was
Oh,
Rorke's
gotcha.
Drift, and I like Rorke's
Gotcha.
Drift. Scottish Mad Lad. He's replying to Jonathan Campbell. Okay, ignore that one.
I'm just watching to see if it blows over again.
Yeah,
The wind's kicking up.
I'm on it.
I'm visiting my family in Rome. You've just been
Nice.
to
Rome's
Italy.
amazing. Love it.
In January. Any historical sites you can recommend? And that's from George Koshava.
Any not to recommend? Oh
Yeah,
my
do you have
gosh.
another hour?
Or, in Rome, any historical sites you can recommend? Sorry, that was my
The
bad.
Colosseum, absolutely.
Yeah, of course.
The Vatican,
Vatican's
must
a
do.
must.
And understand, I mean, maybe in December it's not going to be as bad, but I was there in April and it was already stupid busy. I mean,
Yeah,
the
you have to get like a
crowds.
fast pass. You can
Yeah,
get.
and we had the fast pass for like the Colosseum
I
and the
think you have
Vatican.
like a pass called the Rome
Yeah.
pass. You can travel the subway for free with that
Yeah.
pass, and you get a fast lane into the Colosseum.
Yeah.
Because the
Yeah.
lines
Colosseum, go to the
crazy.
Forum. The Forum's got a ton of history at it. You can see some of the big baths, like the baths of
What's the
Caracalla,
fountain?
the Trevi Fountain.
That's it.
You walk the Appian Way. So if you go out the Appian Way, which is right outside the Aurelian walls, which were the huge walls that were built around Rome in like the 3rd century, you walk the Appian Way. Rome had a rule, and I filmed a lot of this. You guys will see it on the channel before too long.
Yeah, Rome's really good to see all
Yeah.
the historical sites.
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't taken by the city because it's so touristy.
I think there are
you know?
better places to go in Italy than
Yeah.
Rome just because of.
I mean,
the
I went to
crowds.
Rome. I did the Vatican, the Colosseum, all the historical stuff. Then I went up to Florence and
Yeah.
had an incredible time.
Florence is amazing.
I felt I saw the real Italy down
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
Rome is tailored for tourism.
Yeah, it's mass tourism.
But
oh,
yeah, go ahead.
I have one thing. You have like St. Peter's Church,
Yes,
and then underneath the floor you have like a crypt where a lot of the popes are buried.
you have to get
But-
tickets in advance for that. Way
Oh,
in advance.
the normal crypt. Where
Yes.
the normal popes are, you can just go down
Yeah,
the
yeah.
stairs. But beneath that, you have like what do you call it?
St. Peter's there. It's the
Yeah, the bones of St. Peter.
Yeah.
How do you call it? Necropolis.
Yeah.
The Vatican necropolis. You have to like 50 people a day are allowed,
yeah. You have to
Go
get
down?
those tickets months in advance.
and that was probably the best experience
Oh, yeah.
I ever had. You feel like Indiana Jones going down there. You see Christian graves from like the year 0. So
Yeah, there's a bunch of catacombs outside the city. So if you go the Appian Way, Roman law, and this was true in all cities, you couldn't have graves inside the city. You could have ashes. So like Julius Caesar and folks like that, they were cremated. But if you were buried, you couldn't be buried in the city. So if you go out like to the Appian Way, it's outside of the city limits, and you walk along, and there's all these tombs, like 2,000-year-old tombs of families you've never heard of. But then like the tombs of the Scipios are there, like the famous Scipio family.
also the catacombs. You can
The
go
catacombs are out that way too, and you can go down in them. They've removed all the bones, so don't expect to see bones like you do in Paris. But I would say, yeah, Florence. But honestly, my favorite historical site that I saw in Italy was Pompeii.
down.
Pompeii. I spent 5
Yeah.
hours exploring Pompeii and didn't even
I
see
said
a quarter
Florence
of it.
and didn't even consider
Yeah.
Pompeii because
Pompeii
Pompeii
is
was incredible.
absolutely amazing.
Yeah, 100%.
So we've had a couple more.
Yeah,
super
so the
chats.
Chris Richards, hey Chris, one Chris to another, planning. I think he's saying, are you
Yeah.
any plans on coming to Wales, Pembrokeshire? As there is a castle
Oh,
near
yeah.
me where Henry VIII was born.
Henry the Seventh was
Henry
born.
VII,
Yeah.
that's what I said.
Yeah.
Know your history, Sean.
It's not my history, it's the Roman numerals again. There's a
yes.
ton of castles where I live.
I do want to get back to Wales. I've been to Wales once, but that was just to go to a Wrexham game. So I wasn't in Wales long.
That was cool.
But yeah, they lost. But yeah, I definitely want to get back to Wales. Pembroke's definitely an area I could go to.
Wales has some cool castles
Yeah,
as well.
they have a
I
lot
went
of great
to-
castles. I'm going to be in Scotland in 2 weeks with my kids. We're going up to Orkney. I'm going to be shooting some videos at Skara Brae, some of those Neolithic, like 6,000-year-old sites, some of the oldest history you'll ever see. But then I'll be back in September with some of these guys.
All three of us.
All three of us will
Yeah.
be there, yeah. Rob will be there with us, and Vasek, my friend, who's been on a couple tours from Prague. And we're going to be going on tour with some of the actors from Masters of the Air and touring some of the 8th Air Force sites.
Yeah.
Okay, so Pranay Malhotra. I'm really sorry if I butchered that.
SGD, I don't know what that
SGD,
is.
is that not Singapore? So
I don't know, but thank you, whatever it is.
A donation. I'm super into history and always have been. I think I want to study at a uni. How do I convince myself and my parents that it's worth the cost?
What's your plan for after you get the degree?
Yeah,
That's
what kind
the
of job
question.
do you want to do?
Because history degrees are hard to get jobs. There's not a lot of fields. You can go into teaching.
Yeah, that's about it.
Maybe archaeology, museum curator.
Yeah.
Um,
YouTuber, historian.
work at one of the like historic sites in the UK or something, or wherever you live. Work at a historic site, but have a plan. I think is the important thing. If you can lay it out and let them know that you understand the doubts they might have. Let them know you're being mature about it.
Yeah.
But this is what you're passionate about. Most people change their degree of study at least once anyway in their life. So
Yeah, it's a tough one. How do you convince? I don't know.
yeah.
I don't know. RB, vlogging through history. Will you ever play Red Dead Redemption 2 on the gaming
I
channel?
get asked that a lot.
Murica.
My problem is I don't play the game, do stuff on the gaming channel enough as it is, because I'm so busy right now. I've been traveling a lot. It's my son's soccer season. I had the History Channel stuff that I was flying out to film, and so I've made like 3 gaming videos in the last 2 months. So if I could get back to a regular schedule and have more time, then yeah, absolutely.
And that game
I
is-
do have the game on my Xbox.
It's huge.
Yeah.
So you have to spend
Yeah.
hours.
I
and
enjoyed
hours.
your
yeah.
Great War playthrough though. On
Yeah.
that was really cool.
And I played a lot of Red Dead Redemption, and the story was great, but I think they could have done more with the online world. Same with what they did with the GTA. So many possibilities.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let's get some good questions now, guys. 'cause
Yeah,
there's not
a
much
couple more
coming
minutes.
through.
We're a little over an hour now, so I don't want to be out here too long, and I need to swap out my can.
Yeah, we're getting pruny.
Okay, so Victor Di Giovanni.
Sounds Italian.
I'm writing a book that briefly has characters in World War One. What's an interesting event or place to include that maybe has never gotten the spotlight?
Ooh, in Italy or?
Or
The
got
Isonzo front in Italy.
Isonzo. the
Yeah,
good
that's.
one.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
the,
good.
the Alpine warfare, like
Climbing
Sabaton did
mountains
the
to
song.
fight.
The first of all, it probably saw as much continuous fighting, if not more, than places like Ypres or the Somme or Verdun did. Because the whole war, I mean, you got like what 13, 14 battles of Isonzo. That's brutal fighting, and that's something I don't know much about. I think that would be a cool. And plus, your name's Italian sounding, so I don't know if you're Italian or not.
Maybe
but,
not, maybe it's American.
but either way, I mean, at least has
Isonzo's a
Italian.
really good one,
Yeah,
actually,
that'd
'cause
be
that's-
a great unknown story, and it would have some compelling things to talk about.
Yeah, for sure.
Looking for history. Do you know much about Istanbul, Chris?
Not as much as I'd like to. I mean, really just the Byzantine period is what I know.
So someone's at, so RB again is going to Istanbul this summer. Any sites I should look out for? I don't know much about Turkey.
No.
Yeah, I know that the group that I do my travel through, that I did my Germany and Austria and Italy trips, and I'm doing Egypt with, they do an Istanbul trip that looks pretty interesting.
I
Yeah,
think you have to go to the mosque. That's a big.
Hagia
mosque.
Sophia.
Yeah.
Oh, we got another.
You have like those underwater water reservoirs there. I
Mm.
think. Is that in Istanbul?
So Fetigator has said, "What ancient wonder do you wish you could have seen?"
Oh wow.
What's that one in? Oh, I can't think of the name now.
We got the Hanging Gardens of Babylon, the Lighthouse at Alexandria, the Colossus of Rhodes.
I would like to see the lighthouse because I'm a big Egyptian nut.
It's cool when you watch like HBO's Rome in the Alexandria scenes. You see the
Yeah,
lighthouse
you
in
see
the background.
yeah.
What's that? Isn't there a city in Peru on that mountain?
Oh, that's
Machu
that,
Picchu.
Machu
Machu
Picchu. But
Picchu.
that, yeah,
I want to go there as well.
That's
yeah.
one of the wonders.
Peru's another one that I've
Yeah.
talked about doing a
Yeah,
group
Machu
tour
Picchu
too.
would be really cool to go.
Would
visit.
involve a lot of hiking.
And that cave system in Jordan,
Oh yeah, like where Petra is.
Petra.
Petra,
yeah,
yeah.
That's Petra. Yeah.
is that in Jordan?
Yeah, it's in Jordan.
Where they shot the Indiana Jones movie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
at least the outside of it.
Yeah.
Opinion. So Brandon Hutchins, opinions on Gallipoli campaign, feelings on the legacy of the Anzac Corps.
The Anzacs.
Legends.
We're actually visiting an Anzac site tomorrow. We're going to Polygon Wood. That's where the New Zealand memorial is for the missing. It's where the Australian memorial is. It was one of the first memorials on the Western Front. Is on the butte at Polygon Wood. Anzacs were immensely important. In fact, I did a video about the Anzacs. If you watch my Polygon Wood video, you'll see some stats on there about the percentage of Australians who fought, and they suffered badly. I don't know if there were anybody as good as the Canadians on the Western Front, but I mean, the British Army had some incredible soldiers. Anzacs did as well. The French. Listen, everybody jokes about the French because of what happened in World War II, but the French bore the brunt of World War I. They suffered worse than anybody, and it was their own country that they were fighting over. So,
And the Anzacs for me, you know, there's always banter between the UK and Australia to an extent. I've got Australian friends, I've got some Kiwi friends, but I walked around that cemetery today with 6,000 names on the headstones. I was a bit of a mess at the, I don't know if you guys saw down the bottom, I had a moment. But as I look around, I saw guys from regiments within my county, but right next to them were Australian graves, Canadian graves, New Zealand graves. And there's no order to it. There was no, the Kiwis there, Australians here. It would be UK, Canada, New Zealand, Australia.
Yeah.
So for me, the Anzacs are just their brothers. You know, there's no difference. There's no, for me, as a military man, they're no different to a Brit to me. You know, I would welcome any of them.
And we were at Hill 60 today, which is another site that was big for the Australians in New Zealand. Australian tunneling company lost 30 men just under Hill 60 during the tunneling competition, or between them and the Germans.
Anzac Day, obviously, it's a different date to our.
That's Gallipoli,
Yeah. So in the UK, it is quite popular. Like, it does come up.
It's in April, right? I think it's in April.
And you know, one of my friends who's an expat from Australia, he lives there. So whenever Anzac Day comes out, we always go out for some beers and, you know, have a barbecue if the weather permits and celebrate their lives, because 100% without them, you know, the Commonwealth just wouldn't exist. So
What'd somebody say about Ohio? Chris doesn't really live in Ohio. I do. I'm just in Belgium at the moment.
Yeah.
Vasek. Václav, that's Vasek is his name.
Vasek. Guys,
no hot tub in Cambridge.
Absolutely.
We don't have
a hot tub in Cambridge.
Maybe a bathtub in Cambridge.
I think, Sean, you can bring an inflatable one with your car.
Yeah, I'll bring an
You can do one in
inflatable
the
hot
yard.
Yeah, there will be no hot tub in Cambridge, but we can still do a stream. Vasek can join us for that one.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can find some good ones. Bear with me.
It is getting dark finally. Yeah, it's almost 10. It's after 10 o'clock here.
When are we doing another stream tomorrow?
We're gonna do one tomorrow night because JD will be here tomorrow night.
So I think if anyone's here now that's coming tomorrow, like, think of some good questions.
Yeah.
But think for everyone, you know, there's Dutch, British, Americans here. So
Yeah, you can ask everybody questions.
Yeah, we'll take a little more time tomorrow, and we'll give more time for people to ask different questions, not just about me.
Do you want to have one more then, or?
Yeah, let's do one more question.
Okay.
And then we'll wrap it up. And thank you, not only to everybody who gave super chats, but everybody who joined and asked questions.
Yeah, and tune in tomorrow as well.
And apologies if we didn't get to your question. Save it for tomorrow. We'll try to get it to tomorrow.
They put me in charge of reading questions, which is a terrible plan, but there we go.
Nah, he did a good job. Tell Sean he did a good job.
It's a Scottish mad lad again, vlogging for history. Would you get in a hot tub with Woodrow Wilson
If
if he was alive today, and if you would receive $1 million for it?
I wouldn't need $1 million for it, and I would be the only one walking out of that hot tub. No, I joke. I'm serious. I would actually find it fascinating to have a conversation with him.
Why not?
Be interested to hear. And listen, like I said, I hate on Wilson because I hate him more than any other president. And hate's a strong word. I don't really hate the guy.
He's your
I never
least
met
favorite
him.
one.
My least favorite.
Yeah.
He's not the worst president. There are redeeming qualities to the presidency of Woodrow Wilson. He did some good things. He also did a lot of really awful things, and he was a terrible human being. So, but he wasn't the only president who was a terrible human being. And being a terrible human being doesn't guarantee you're a good or a bad president.
Yeah, and vice versa.
Yeah, I don't think Jimmy Carter was a good president, but he's a wonderful human being.
Yeah.
Oh,
Submariner as well.
Here's a good one to end on, I think.
Okay.
Brent, Denia, what will you visit the rest of your trip?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
that's
great. Why don't you guys talk about that a little bit?
I don't know, because you're a guide.
Oh, okay. So we tomorrow we are headed to. In the morning we're going to Tynecott, which if you've seen my video about that, it's the largest British war cemetery in the world. And I shouldn't just say British because there's a lot of South Africans, Canadians. It's Commonwealth War Graves Commission. So you've got South Africa, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, all of them. It's on the Passchendaele battlefield. It also has the memorial to the missing for about 30,000 men. Yeah. It's 12,000 individual graves there. It's the largest cemetery in the world for the British.
Over 8,000 of them are unknowns.
Yeah, a lot. That's because of
that's
Passchendaele.
crazy. Yeah.
That's the nature of Passchendaele. If we have time, we're going to hit Langemark, which is a huge German cemetery with over 40,000 burials. That's where a lot of the student soldiers, as they called them, they call it the Studentenfriedhof, student cemetery. Werner Voss is there, one of the great flying aces of the Germans.
So is that like from quite on the Western Front, that movie? Those were all students.
Yeah,
They would be there if they were.
But
real people.
but it happened in 1914 in real life, not in 1917 and 18 the way they show in West. And we're going to Polygon Wood, and we're actually going to get to meet with a guy who owns a cafe over by the Brothers in Arms Memorial, which I think it's his land that was built on.
Yeah.
Which I've done a video about that as well. And I'm not bragging on my videos. I'm just trying to give you guys some history.
Yeah, maybe they can watch the videos tonight
to watch, to see, to understand these places we're going.
and ask questions tomorrow
Yeah.
about.
And after that, we'll see how much time we have. We'll probably do some other stuff because JD's going to be with us, and I think he probably has some things he wants to do. We are going to go to Essex Farm, where John McCrae wrote In Flanders Fields at some point this weekend. I have some videos I'm going to be doing about. I have a collection of letters written home by a soldier who was killed here. I'm going to go to his grave and tell his story and bring those letters with me to his grave, as well as a photo that belonged to his widow that was sent home by his company commander of his original grave when it still had a wooden cross on it before the new gravestone was placed. So we're doing that. And then Monday, we're going to the Somme. I think we'll do the football memorial while we're here,
Are we
too.
going to Yorkshire Trench?
We're going to try to go to Yorkshire Trench. We're pretty close to that
Sunday
here.
we got a private tour of that bunker, right?
Oh, we have a private tour on land that's not normally
It's an old
open.
medical bunker. with
A medical
working
bunker that was
pump.
underground, and they had to pump the water out to keep it dry.
And St.
But
Julian gas attack?
St. Julian, the gas attack.
The pump in that bunker, it was still there when it was discovered, and it's been, it still works.
Yeah.
So they fixed it, so you can go in there, so we can use the pump tomorrow
Yeah.
if there's water in.
So it's normally not open, but it'll be open on Sunday when we go to that.
Yeah.
And then we're going to the Somme, and we're going to do a lot of the big, most well-known sites at the Somme. We'll go to Thiepval, to Serre, where the Accrington Palace fought. We'll go to Mametz Wood,
Beaumont and Mel.
Beaumont Hamel, for sure.
Sunken Lane.
Sunken Lane, Hawthorne Ridge Crater, Loch Nagar. A lot of places to see. Yeah, a lot of things that you've seen in my videos.
And the Devonshire Cemetery.
And the Devonshire Cemetery,
My
for
home
sure.
county.
So yeah, I'm kind of the tour guide because I've been to a lot of these sites. And so I'll just kind of share what I already know.
Yeah, so just to be clear, JD is not coming with us to the song.
To the song because he's going back to Normandy.
Going back to Normandy.
Now, I will say this.
Oh,
Oh yeah, we'll get to that one before we let. That'll be our last one. I want to say this, just because I want to agonize about this for a minute.
I know what you're going to talk about.
I'm scheduled to fly home on D-Day because I didn't want to go to Normandy because of the crowds. But somewhere in the Normandy vicinity, I won't say where and I won't say when, but I've been invited to like the super club of historians.
The Justice League of
The
Historians.
Justice League of Historians.
Oh, another
JD's going to be there. Paul Woodage is going to be there. Al Murray is going to be there. If you've ever seen the videos of the guy talking about how the name of country in the UK has defeated it,
Tom Holland? Or what's his name?
James Holland
Tom
is going to be there.
That's the actor.
James Holland. We're trying to get Paul Reed. I don't know if he'll be there, but like some of the greats of
JD.
history, JD's going to be, yeah. And I was invited to come be a part of that, but I'm flying home that day, and I'm agonizing over that because I have to get home to my kids. But I would love to stay one more day just to be a part of that group.
I thought you were going to rant about Vimy Ridge.
Oh, I ranted about Vimy Ridge at the beginning.
Oh, yeah.
All right, what's that?
We've had
Super
two
chat.
more
All right,
coming
last
now,
two
so-
super chats.
So for an amateur historian like me, this is from Andrew Honeycutt, by the way.
Andrew,
apologies.
thank you.
For an amateur historian like myself, I think the work the Vlogging for History does is very important. History is who we are and what we may become.
Yeah,
Sorry.
sure.
Why is history being exploited in our modern era?
Because people will exploit anything they
Yeah.
can. If it can be exploited, it will be exploited by somebody. And
Human nature.
It's human nature to exploit anything, to play on people's emotions, to use whatever will get you that will get you that argument that gets people to your side. And that's true of anything. Some people are in it for the right reasons. Some people are just in it to get famous.
I hate that whole movement that were trying to erase certain parts of history. I hate that. Because you have to learn from your mistakes.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Right, and Malik F15, so this will be the last one,
Last
right?
question.
So, hey, Vlogging for History, when you get chance to do some content on the Franco-Prussian
Yes.
Prussian front, it's a criminally underrated era war that set
Yeah.
the stage for the next 70
There's a
years.
bat flying around.
Batman.
Yeah. Franco-Prussian, absolutely. When you say it sets the stage, I mean, everything's connected, right? I mean, the Napoleonic Wars set the stage for the Congress of Vienna, which sets the stage for the revolutions of 1848, which set the stage for German unification, which sets the stage for the Prussian War, Franco-Prussian War, which sets the stage. I mean, it's all connected, but you're right. Franco-Prussian War has direct connections to the 20th century.
What people have to understand is when you make videos like this, your wish list of things you want to film is like
Yeah.
this long. And you have to pick and choose.
Yep. You have to figure out where, like, and even with a story, like what you're saying about being connected, you have to figure out where do I start this story, right? Because if I'm talking about the overview of World War I could easily go back to the Napoleonic Wars. I could go back to the American Revolution, because without the American Revolution, there's no French Revolution, there's no Napoleon,
Yeah.
and there's no Napoleonic Wars. It's all connected. So where do you start the story? But then
stop.
what do I and where do I stop the story, and how do I tell it in a compelling way, knowing I have to leave important parts
The
out?
same if you go to like a cemetery, there's like hundreds
Oh,
and
gosh.
hundreds of
Yeah.
individual stories that you can
I'm
tell.
going back to,
Yeah.
we're going to Timecott tomorrow. I've already done a video at Timecott telling stories. I'm going to do a bunch more stories at Timecott tomorrow that I didn't do because there's infinite stories that can be told.
I'm gonna do a video there as well.
Yeah.
I'm going to be a mess there tomorrow. So
Yeah.
Just leave me alone.
And that's one of the reasons why I encourage you guys as well to follow other people's channels, because first of all, I don't have me, JD, or anybody else oversimplified. Nobody has a monopoly on history, and we all have not only our unique biases and worldviews, but our unique stories and things that we're interested in.
Yeah, we all have different
Right.
angles.
So you could watch 5 different people tell the same story, and every one of them could be compelling and in a different way, and it's worth telling. So JD says that to me. He says, you're going to do a video there. I wanted to do a video there. I'm like, no, do it. I want to see this story through your eyes.
Yeah.
I want to hear how you present it.
How
And-
it affects you as a person.
and
as well.
inevitably, we in our chats when we're talking to each other, one of us will say, "Oh, did you hear about this story?" And they're like, "Oh, I wish I would have known that when I made my video." You know, yeah. So we're always teaching each other too.
But when like you're making videos and you get emotional and stuff,
Yeah.
that's personal connection that you have.
Yep.
And if you watch someone else's video, it's gonna have a different personal connection. So every video is good. It's great.
Yep.
There was
Happy
another
days.
super chat, right? But
There was one.
Yeah,
but
I've put my phone down now.
I will get on if there were any other super chats. I'll get on, and in the comment section of the video, I will answer those if we missed any, because I can't scroll back and look at it now. But I'll definitely go back and answer that once the video goes up for the channel. So thank you guys. Tomorrow night, probably the same time, but I won't schedule it in advance because it looks like I can't jump into it with my phone if I schedule it in advance on my computer. So I'll schedule it for tentatively 9 p.m. here, which would be 3 p.m. U.S. time, 8 p.m.
We'll try.
British time. We'll try. It's going to depend on our
because
schedule.
we have JD with us,
Yeah.
but he's gonna probably
I'll
want
do
to
a
film
post.
until it's dark.
Yeah, I'll do an announcement post, and we'll do that video.
Yeah,
We'll do that, and JD will be here, and we'll sit inside where we can go a little longer and get a little more in depth with some stuff. So
I'll post
I think
like
more
a countdown on
importantly,
Instagram.
think of some good questions
Yes.
as well. Some different different questions that haven't been
Yeah.
repeated, should we say?
For everybody.
Yep.
Yeah, about anyone.
Thank you guys. Enjoyed it. We'll see you tomorrow.
Bye-bye.
Thanks. Later.
Oh man.